In this installment, we're going to be going over Monday Night Football Showdown slate on DraftKings between the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's get into it. Hey, yo! Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for your Monday Night Football Showdown slate on DraftKings. We have a very special matchup, NFC South matchup between the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But before I deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And guys, don't forget about the Patreon. You see what you see in the background right now. This is part of the Patreon. I posted pics earlier in that day on Sunday, and these are some of the results. We had a beautiful parlay here. I love these particular teams here at that 1 o'clock slate: the Eagles, Steelers, Green Bay Packers, and Detroit Lions. All right, $15 got you over $100. All right, that was one of the parlays that cashed. We had one of our two-team solid parlay right there: Eagles and Packers. That came through. Packers and Lions, if you wanted to pair those two, that came through. And then this one I just threw for fun. I just took all the game lines and put it to a ridiculous number. It was a free bet. I just wanted to turn it into real cash, and we got that $10 free bet, got us back $50. No risk there. We souped up all the favorites, all the people I thought that had a good chance to win, and we took it to a whole nother level. +10 on the Jets, +10.5. All these games were either close environments or blowouts on the side that I particularly liked. So you see 10.5, 13.5 on time. We just wanted to make sure we got that free bet into cash. All right, so let's get into this slate, and we're going to start off with that injury report. All right, guys, if you want more winning picks, you got to sign up for that Patreon. All right, but let's get into this injury report. We're going to start off with these New Orleans Saints here. We have safety JT Gray. He's going to be out. Juwan Johnson, tight end, he's going to be out. That's going to lead to more usage to Taysom Hill and Adam Troutman. Jarvis Landry looks like he's going to be fine. Marshawn Lattimore looks like he's going to be fine. We have an out on Peyton Turner, DN, and an out on PJ Williams. So other than that, not too bad on the injury report for the New Orleans Saints. Now for these Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we have a doubtful on Mike Edwards, safety, a doubtful on Antoine Winfield. That's a little bit of a bad sign there. Tristan Wirfs is going to be out as well, their tackle. Doubtful on Sean Murphy-Bunting as well, even though he got limited practice. So the defensive side of the ball for these Buccaneers is not looking too pretty, all right? So let's see if we can find some gems at this captain position. For the El Capitans, we're going to start off at the tippy top here, and that's going to be Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin has been pitcher perfect consistency we got from him. A big explosive game from him in week 12 against the Cleveland Browns. Now he's going up against a team in the New Orleans Saints that he tends to struggle with. So you're paying top dollar for Chris Godwin. He needs to come through. I do believe that he's going to at least get his regular usage and targets. So we're looking around the 8 to 10 range in targets. He's going to need to come through with a touchdown for him to really go off like he did against Cleveland, because we really want that 32 fantasy points. But other than that, he's been right in the middle, in the teens for the majority of the seasons beside week 1. If you're going to see the usage that we've seen from Chris Godwin here, we're going to do Chris Godwin DKP by game log versus the Saints, okay? All right. So majority of his games, he had some big blow-ups here and there. He had one in 2017, one in 2019, and one in 2021. But other than that, he's been staying in that mid-teen range: 10.9, 7.1, 13.9, 13.7, 2, 13, and 1. So it's usually in that lower teen range from Chris Godwin. Remember, you got to pay top dollar if you want to have him at your captain spot. He's the guy that's going to get the majority of the usage, but I did want to warn you about his play against these New Orleans Saints and against Marshawn Lattimore. So other guys we're going to look towards at that captain position. Tom Brady would have to go absolutely off for him to pay off his salary at that captain spot. He doesn't provide much in the rushing department as well. He would need 3 to 4 or 5 touchdowns in this game for him to go off. Something similar to what we saw against Kansas City. We had 29 fantasy points in that game, almost 400 yards, and he had around 3 touchdowns as well. So you would need that type of output, but I don't expect that. The last time he faced the Saints earlier in the season, he got 10.4 fantasy points. I'm going to call Tom Brady more of a flex play, okay? Next guy we're going to look at captain will be Alvin Kamara. This is going to be the key for the New Orleans Saints offense for them to get going. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense has been pretty solid all year long. If you're looking at fantasy points allowed to that running back position, Alvin Kamara and these Tampa Bay Buccaneers are giving up only 95 yards per game, 4.4 yards a carry. So that's not too bad there. So I have no problem going towards Alvin Kamara. He's going to get utilized in that passing game as well. That's been the main cog here with Andy Dalton starting at the quarterback position. He's going to dump the ball off to Alvin Kamara. So we have some usage there. He's just been very poor other than that Las Vegas game the past 5 weeks. We need more production out of Alvin Kamara. They continue to go away from that running game because they have not been very, very effective. Look at the yards per carry the last 5 weeks. Very, very stark and concerning, but for them to have success in this game here against these Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're gonna need to utilize Alvin Kamara, right? So we can go to that well there at the captain spot because we know we're gonna get a lot of volume. On the other side of the ball for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, alongside of Chris Godwin, their number one wide receiver here is going to be Mike Evans, all right? He's still getting a ton of usage, just haven't had a big blow-up week since week 8, week 7. That was when Chris Godwin was just getting acclimated to this offense, coming back from his early injury. And then Chris Godwin has been taking over as of late, but this could be a Mike Evans game here. You get value here in Mike Evans since everyone's going to be on Chris Godwin. I think this is definitely a spot we can look towards here in Mike Evans to get a touchdown in this game. He has not had a touchdown since week 4 against Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm going to be looking towards prop bets here and make sure I play him in the showdown slate because I believe Mike Evans is going to get a touchdown this week in week 13. All right. Next, captain option. I will have to mention Andy Dalton. He's more of a flex play. This is not, well, matter of fact, you could consider him. All right. I think he's definitely a flex play, but he does have some upside here going up against these Tampa Bay Buccaneers because of all these injuries in the secondary. We just talked about all the guys that are going to be out. We got Antoine Winfield, secondary. He's going to be out. Mike Edwards, he's going to be out. Sean Murphy-Bunting, he's going to be out. All these secondary pieces is going to open up the passing lanes for Andy Dalton and for other guys we're going to talk about on that wide receiver core for the New Orleans Saints. So Andy Dalton is going to be mentioned as a captain play, more likely a flex play in this type of build, all right? And the number one guy he's going to be thrown to will be Chris Olave. This rookie wide receiver has come onto the scene and has definitely taken over the reins as the number one option in this offense. So Chris Olave here, a solid game against the San Francisco 49ers, which was a tough matchup. 5 for 62 in that game. Very good game against the Rams, 5 for 102 and a touchdown. That's what we want from Chris Olave in this. And he's going to have a great opportunity to put some points on the board because of the secondary of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is going to be very, very hampered. So I love Chris Olave as a captain play for Monday night slate, all right? Running back position for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Rachaad White. With the injury to Leonard Fournette, Rachaad White is the bell cow. I mean, look what he did against Cleveland. Over 14 rushes in that game against Cleveland, and we got 9 receptions on 9 targets, 45 yards. didn't get in the end zone, but that's going to be coming very, very soon. I expect Rachaad White to have a very good game against the New Orleans Saints. If we want to see the Saints fantasy points allowed per game to the running back position, they're allowing around 100 yards per game and 4.5 yards per carry. So that's going to be another solid spot here. Rachaad White, super explosive. I've seen him out of college. My boy Chris told me about him, and we were all over him in fantasy football. And Rachaad White is going to emerge and take over. Even if Leonard Fournette comes back, it doesn't matter. Rachaad White is going to be the number one back in this offense. So I'm loving him as a captain position. Let's move on to the flex ops. Now onto the flex ops, and we got a lot of sneaky plays here in the flex opposition section. Now, what are we going to start off with? Let's scroll all the way down. And you already see Taysom Hill is in here. He's going to get minimal amount of usage, mainly rushing, as you can see right here. But he's going to be used as a tight end as well. So starting off with the flex ops, Taysom Hill is going to be an option because of Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson being out, that's going to give more usage to Taysom Hill. He already has a set package that he's going to do rushing the football, all right? And he's going to be utilized in the passing game as well. So Taysom Hill becomes a factor, as you can see. Look at the rushing numbers, 6 for 13, 9 for 52, 3 for 1, 1 for 6, 10 for 61. So he's still being utilized. He needs that big play to really break out. And definitely needs to get in the end zone for him to separate himself if you're playing him in these lineups. So Taysom Hill is going to be a number one option there that can set yourself apart in your lineups. And then number two would be Adam Troutman. Now, with the injury, like I said, to Juwan Johnson, who's had 2 touchdown games, Adam Troutman and Taysom Hill is going to emerge, all right? So he's been getting limited usage because he's been alongside and sharing with Juwan Johnson. Now it's going to be Adam Troutman and it's going to be Taysom Hill here. So have no problem with going with either one of these options. Troutman is a little more cheaper there. Taysom Hill, he already has a set package. That's why he's more expensive. But you can lean toward these guys as a bottom flex play. Let's look at some other options down below. We got Julio Jones. He is the number 2, number 3 option here in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. He's been having some decent games. Week 8 against Baltimore, got in the end zone there, 2 for 21. Week 10 against Seattle, 3 for 53, and got in the end zone. Against Cleveland, they're using him like it's a young Julio Jones, 3 for 40, and he got a rush for 15 yards. Julio Jones is looking like a spry young fella out here on the field at 5,400. I have no problem going towards him as a middling flex play in this game, all right? Jarvis Landry, he's going to have some upside because of the injuries to the secondary of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he's coming back from his injury the past 3 weeks, 6.7, 12.3, and 4 fantasy points. Hopefully we can get a double-digit type of game from him. Hopefully he can get in the end zone. But this is going to only help this offense if they got Chris Olave and Jarvis Landry side by side. So I'm liking him as a flex play as well. Let's get into these kickers and these defenses here. In division matchup, I would tend to lean toward the home team here, the Buccaneers, but they are seeing some questions in the secondary, but they've been dealing with that for the majority of the year. I have no problem going towards the Buccaneers defense. It's not a love. It's not like what I told you guys in that Colts and Cowboys game. We saw what happened. I gave you great advice there with the Cowboys defense as a captain option. They scored like 2-3 touchdowns, had 3, 4, 5 interceptions, got a couple fumbles. It was a perfect play. This is not that game environment, but Andy Dalton has the capabilities to turn over the football. So that's why we're going to consider the Buccaneers defense. I'm not going to consider the Saints defense here because we're dealing with Tom Brady in a must-win situation. They're trying to win a division here, and they're the home team. So those are the factors, the reason why I'm staying away from the Saints. I'm leaning towards Tampa Bay and winning this game, so I'm not going to go towards the defense there. So Buccaneers defense, and if we're looking at kickers, you can consider both Ryan Succop and Will Lutz. Succop is the least averaging around 8.8 fantasy points per game. So those two kickers are going to be decent plays for Monday. Let's clear this out and let's see if we can find some more gems below the kickers and the defenses. So below here, below the kickers and defenses, we have the tight end position for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that is going to be between Cameron Brate and it's going to be between Cade Otton. The question here is if Cameron Brate is going to be healthy for this game. He was listed as questionable, failed to practice on Thursday and Friday, but the veteran tight end was able to practice fully on Saturday. So that's a positive sign, and he's been the favorite. As long as he's healthy, they're going to go towards Cameron Brate. Then we can put Cade Otton to the back burner. So do not play Cade Otton. We're going to play Cameron Brate if he is fully clear for this game. It looks like he's going to be able to play in this one, all right? Some sneakier guys down below here. Rashid Shaheed is the speed demon for the New Orleans Saints. He's had a couple games here and there where he's went off. Week 12, 7.9. If we go further down, Arizona 12.3, Cincinnati 10.4. So he's had some big breakout games. If we go earlier in that, he's had one or two games where he's just gone off because of his speed upside. So Rashid Shaheed would be a bottom flex play here, just to throw in if you spent up at every one of your other positions. All right. Below Rashid Shaheed, I think I'm going to stay away from everyone else. That's how deep we can go in this one. Yeah, so that's going to be the cheapest we'll go. Rashid Shaheed, Adam Troutman. Those are the cheapest I would trust in this game on Monday Night Football. Let's put in the 3 locks of this slate. All right. Number 1 is going to be Mike Evans. Everyone's going to be on Chris Godwin. I think Mike Evans is going to have a great game and get in the end zone. He hasn't been in the end zone since week 4. All right. So he's going to definitely bounce back there. I love Mike Evans. Number 2 will be Rachaad White. Rachaad White is going to receive a ton of usage in this game. Not only rushing the football, but he's going to get usage in the receiving game as well. And number 3, if we're choosing someone on the New Orleans side of the ball, that's going to be Chris Olave. With the injuries to the secondary of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think he can take advantage of this scenario and at least get in the end zone and get your double-digit fantasy points. So those are going to be the 3 guys we're going to focus in each and every one of our lineups and build around these guys. Mike Evans, Rachaad White, and Chris Olave. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessageSD. And don't forget about that Patreon if you want these winning bets and picks. Peace out, guys.